Hello, everybody, and welcome to Knights of Prospect, a live, improvised role-playing adventure. We use the Powered by the Apocalypse system and a bunch of improv to do a silly show. So we're going to roll some dice sometimes as we make up a bunch of stuff. My name, of course, is Sam, and I play the amazing entrepreneur wizard Chauncey, who seeks desperately to finally win the Magic Fair. And over here, we have Kaylee Kane playing Vil. Down there is Ryan Daly playing Gregory Chipbeard. And here is Whitney Hawkins playing Hazel Pippet. And right over here is John Serpico, who is our game master, who runs the world in which we play. Welcome to the show, everybody.
All right, welcome everybody, and welcome back, Chauncey the Wizard, Vil the Ranger, Gregory the Warrior, and welcome to Hazel Pippet, the Druid from the mountains. Hazel, we're going to start with you. Okay. You're in the Riverlands. Finally, you're in the Riverlands. The journey down from the mountains far to the east was long, not necessarily in terms of time, due to the gifts you possess, but certainly in terms of distance. You are very, very far from home, and everything is exciting. You've got letters of introduction from your village elders in the hopes that you will become something of an emissary of the halfling towns to the east to the Riverlands, where you are now. Your ultimate goal, even though you're not entirely sure how to do it yet, is to join the Knights of Prospect. But first things first, you kind of have to get to know the place a little bit. So you're somewhere, Hazel, outside of Tower Town, observing a particularly peculiar natural feature. Something that caught your eye, something that seems weird to you. So, Hazel, what is it that you are currently looking at?
Well, I'm looking at a very, very large rock that comes out of the ground and comes to a point. It's a little like a mountain, but it's a much smaller.
Yeah, because of your gifts, you get something of a bird's eye view of things sometimes. And so you understand, probably more than most people, the topography of the continent, like how mountains kind of naturally turn into rolling hills, kind of naturally turn into plains, naturally turn into marshes and rivers. Like, things are contextual in nature. Mm-hmm. And so this kind of stone mountain thing, it's like a pyramid shape. And it has no business being in the middle of the relatively flat fields a few hours outside of Tower Town. So you're there and staring at it. Over, the next kind of hour or so, you kind of observe it, and, you kind of get a sense of how the sun is moving, and so you're able to, with shadow, kind of estimate its height and stuff like that. And, for the life of you, all you want to do is explore the darn thing. And you're kind of working up the nerve to kind of get closer and start figuring it out, when you see a parade of human children and teenagers, all wearing robes, about a dozen of them. No, exactly 13. You count exactly 13. All kind of, enthusiastically kind of jogging in more or less a straight line towards this kind of pyramid-shaped thing. You're keeping your distance. They do not see you. And you're watching, and all of them, they clearly have brought like a picnic lunch, and so some of them are eating. Others of them are setting up. Actually, let's have you roll. This will be the first roll of the session here. Let's have you roll 2d6 plus your wisdom. And since this is powered by the apocalypse, a 10 plus is a full success, 7 to 9 is a success with consequences, and a 6 or less is a failure.
Well, that's an 8.
Okay. So, you're not entirely sure what this is all about. The magic, you don't necessarily think of your magic as magic. It's really more of a gift. It's the dialogue that you have with nature. But the sense you're getting is you don't know what exactly that is, but you do know it's some kind of human magic. They're like kind of making these chalk outlines, big circles within circles. They're lighting candles at various increments. And, you kind of see them all over the next few minutes, eventually kind of finish their lunch. And one of them's kind of directing all the others on where to stand. And then they begin chanting in unison, and nothing is happening. And, then the chanting's getting louder, and like a couple of them change positions. And the kind of the tallest one in the group is being very enthusiastic and telling everyone they're doing a great job. And then something happens that it is very clear to you that these children were not expecting, which is that weird kind of stone-shaped pyramid thing. A bolt of lightning shoots out of the top of it and strikes the ground in the middle of this ritual circle. There's like a big puff of kind of dirt, and you can smell that weird like thunderstorm smell in the air. And when eventually the smoke and soot clears, all of them are gone.
They just disappeared.
They just disappeared.
Did that pyramid just absorb them?
If you were to guess, that might be your guess. Elsewhere, from a different vantage, Vil, you are in a tree, and you just witnessed this same thing. You are there not because you were just out exploring. You were there because Chauncey, your friend, technically hired you to spy on his brother Rontomdal. And what you saw was Rontomdal lead a group of 12 other students out of Tower Town, a few hours march towards the Silver Kingdom Forest. They stopped here, they made a ritual, and something went terribly wrong, and now they've all vanished.
Huh. Well, that is unexpected. But I guess I knew that Rontomdal would have been messing around with some sort of magic, which I expect this must be. I'm not a big fan of magic myself and don't know much about it. But I'd like to report back what I saw to the person who hired me, none other than my friend and child magician Chauncey.
You do indeed do that, or well, you're about to really, because Hobie, your duck business partner and best friend, was right there with you and observed the same thing.
Of course.
And Hobie kind of confirmed what you also expected, which is this was not expected. Like this was something went wrong. Like big explosion. Hobie looks at you. You look at Hobie.
I agree, Hobie. I also don't think people should be messing around with magic, but here we are. You know, some of our good friends mess around with magic too, so they ought to know. Well, I don't think it could be anything good. Okay, I'll hurry. I'm going right now.
So you start kind of, like you're packing, you're getting your bow back on your shoulder, and you kind of hop down from the tree.
Yeah, Hobie's really nervous about this whole thing.
Yeah, and you get down, and then Hobie starts. Hobie's in kind of the satchel you have for him. He starts struggling to try to get out. Like he needs out of there real quick.
What? Where do you think you're going? I'm gonna let him out of his satchel.
And
He's
he
his
flies.
Own duck.
He flies in the opposite direction of Tower Town. Hazel, you are in like a kind of a copse of trees observing this, debating kind of what exactly is the protocol here for a bunch of children that you just saw vanished. When an incredibly self-assured duck flies up and lands on a branch and looks down at you.
Well, hey there. I'm sorry to be forward, but you are magnificent. I'm new around here. Would you mind if I drew you? Oh, you are lovely.
Vil, you, as you do, kind of instinctually followed Hobie, and you see kind of in the midst of all this chaos, a young halfling with goat horns coming out of her head, drawing Hobie, who is posing and apparently enjoying it.
Now give me some profile, if you don't mind. How's that feel?
Greetings.
Oh, hey there.
Hello. I see you've met Hobie.
Hobie, is that this duck?
Yes.
Then I certainly have. He is magnificent.
Yes, well, he very much is. Don't let him hear you say that too many times. He's already got quite a big head for a duck.
Well, I have drawn it, and it is large.
Well, I have to say, it's about time somebody recognized his, magnificence.
Well, I certainly have. My name's Hazel Pippet.
Vil.
Well, it's lovely to meet you. I just came down from Towering Mountain, and I'm just trying to learn everything I can around here.
Great. I'm going to start inspecting the area around the stone that I saw produce the strange magical effect earlier.
I saw that same thing too. Is that normal around here?
Nothing's really normal in Tower Town.
It ate a bunch of children.
Yes, one of them I expect was Ram Tomdol, the arch nemesis and brother of my friend and local child. So I'm just here taking a look.
Well, I can help you in your inspection.
Well, I appreciate the help. The fee isn't that large, so I wasn't really keen on splitting it with a...
What fee?
Nothing. I'm doing it for free. Let's look around, shall we?
All right.
And the two of you, well, the three of you, including Hobie, begin your inspection. Yes. So let's cut over a few hours march in the other direction towards Tower Town. Chauncey, you are, well, it is the day before the Magic Fair. This is something that you've kind of been, emotionally, mentally preparing for weeks and weeks since it was first announced. And, interestingly, you, Chauncey, have been through really the kind of the ringer here over the past couple of months. There's been an attempt on your life. The giant magical book that you've been reading has started kind of putting thoughts in your head. You've kind of experienced more in the last few months that plenty of your students and peers will not experience in a lifetime. Yet, despite all of this, despite these decidedly grown-up troubles, the Magic Fair is this thing you've been looking forward to almost more than anything else. Like you are at 11 years old, a candidate to join the Knights of Prospect. But at the same time, you're also 11 and you want to do well in school and you want to beat your brother. And so essentially the Magic Fair is tomorrow. And every year the Magic Fair is a little different and the Archmage kind of gives a different challenge to everybody. The challenge this year is very different than the others. Usually the challenge has like a lot of steps and it's like you have to kind of do all this work in advance. And so that's what you were prepared for. But Archmage Basia essentially said there will be no instructions until the day before. And now it's the day before. And the only instructions you and all the other students received were You are to bring either a magical item or an item of great personal importance to the Magic Fair tomorrow. Rontomdal, your older brother, wanted to take a group of students out to the weird kind of stone pyramid east of town because he's pretty sure that he figured out how to actually open the thing up and get inside. And so he and a bunch of other students kind of all went out there. You decided against it. Why is that?
Ramtando is tricky, and his magics are weird. And honestly, I bet that he was trying to lure away the competition, and they're probably off banished somewhere. That sounds like him. You know, he's awful.
Mm-hmm.
He's bad.
Yeah. The great irony in all of this, and Chauncey, you don't see it. You are, of course, the hero of your own story. But the great irony of this to an outside observer, you know, if they were kind of looking at you drinking like your enormous mug of mead and pouring through
this is herbal tea. I'm very nervous for the
tea,
fair.
of course. So, you know, you're kind of chugging herbal tea out of a giant mug and reading, you know, essentially the dark magics that you've been quietly acquiring. You know, the irony is you are essentially building this book of forbidden magic. But in your mind, it's Rontomdal who's the one that's really the villain here. Like, he's the one, like, he lured a bunch of students out into the woods to do some weird ritual magic on a stone.
Obviously evil.
Obviously evil. And by the way, your ancient magic book, which is, it started, by the way, completely blank. It had this weird kind of like marked cover with a bunch of like various holes in it and stuff, but all the pages were empty. Now there are probably half a dozen or so pages that are full. Some of them are written in languages you understand, some of them are not. You're pretty sure that the book is gaining knowledge as you are. But yes, you're kind of you're kind of thinking about all of this. And yeah, you'd rather kind of focus on your own work than try to glom onto Rontomdal's. So what is the kind of magical item or item of great importance you want to bring to the Magic Fair tomorrow?
I'm bringing the book.
The book is pleased that you are bringing the book. Gregory,
it's real special.
Mm-hmm. Gregory, you are also nearby. So Chauncey lives in student housing at the base of the Arcane College of Tower Town, which is the enormous tower that gives Tower Town its name. You are there too, or at least nearby, because Archmage Basia, the Archmage of the tower, the dean of the college, and essentially the mayor of Tower Town, has asked you if she could examine your dwarven cestus, the ancient and powerful armored gloves that you were recently given by the dwarven government. Essentially, news of this has spread far and wide because, you know, you, Gregory, are already kind of a famed adventurer and war hero, and you are now in possession of these famous gauntlets that have inside of it a warrior spirit of another famous dwarven adventurer and hero. And so in very respectfully, the Archmage, like with a courier that like flew to you on a griffin, like delivered you a letter of invitation saying, you know, essentially respectfully, I would love to examine very unobtrusively the cestuses of the Linebreaker. So the question is, do you let her?
Well, she's the power around here. Reluctantly, I'll go hear her out.
She asks you to pick the place. She essentially says, you know, if like you can come up to like the solarium at the top of the tower, but since you're doing her a favor, you could pick another location if you choose.
No, I'm not going up that thing.
Yeah, there's a weird magical elevator and everything about it is wrong. So where are you going to meet instead?
We'll meet in front of the tower, on level ground, in public.
Yeah, and so you do. The Tower of Tower Town is 500 feet tall, which means it's the tallest building in town by about 460 feet. And around it is this beautifully manicured kind of courtyard with, kind of government buildings on it, like city government buildings, and, the student housing, the constabulary is all there. And so essentially you're just like in a park, and, there's a couple of benches around like a nice stone table, and there's food set out for you. And Archmage Bassi is there when you get there, and she waves. And you sit down with her. Well, Legionary, I appreciate the generosity of both your time and of your, of this powerful relic that you have. In all my years, I've never actually seen a legendary dwarven weapon before.
Well, here we are.
All right, well, let me take a look.
Before you
Okay, yes.
I'll have no magic chicanery happening. You will not remove anything from this. The spirit of this warrior is sacred and will remain within the Ceste.
Agreed. I'm going to do the equivalent of kind of opening my eyes and ears extra wide and kind of passively seeing what kind of magic is imbued within these weapons. So I won't touch anything. And again, I thank you for your time. And so she kind of sits up straight and kind of puts her hands in her lap and kind of really focuses on the gloves and kind of breathes in and breathes out. And her eyes narrow, and then her eyes go wide as if she's observed something, but then they narrow again. She kind of turns her head and listens to it, you think. She kind of sits back. Huh. Those aren't magical in the least.
Excellent.
No enchantments, no spells, no ancient sorcerer. Whatever makes that weapon, or weapons, I suppose, powerful is something that has nothing to do with magic. Wow. Very enlightening.
Archmage, you couldn't have said anything that would make me more happy. So I thank you.
The two of you the Archmage is trying to, at this point, engage you in some kind of pleasantries. There's food laid out, and she's asking you about your family. It's almost as if she kind of budgeted an hour for the meeting and it was over in a minute. But at that moment, kind of a number of things all happen. One, Chauncey's kind of student dorm, which is within earshot and eyeshot of you, the door opens and kind of Chauncey comes out to stretch his legs, and he's stretching and holding the book above his head. And also, coming from the other direction is Vil and Hazel. I should say Vil, the ranger, your friend, and the person you paid some allowance to spy on your brother, and a young woman with horns. And they have a message for you. Let's jump back in time a few hours. Vil, I want you to roll 2d6 plus your wisdom to discern realities. Hazel, you said you would assist, so you can give Vil a +1 if you describe how you are assisting in the search.
All right. Well, I'm just following behind her and keeping her real focused, but asking a lot of questions.
So yeah, so Vil, you kneel down and you look at kind of where they had the chalk outline, and Hazel's right there.
Very nice. That would be a 10. I have rolled a 10.
Awesome. So because this was a discern realities roll and you roll a 10, you can ask 3 questions of me that are the result of the combined search of this ranger and this druid. So
Yes.
3 questions, and I will answer them completely and truthfully.
Fantastic. What happened here recently?
What happened here recently is that, exactly 13 students conducted some kind of magical ritual, and that magical ritual triggered something in the tower, not the tower, triggered something kind of in the stone pyramid that was essentially a trap. Essentially, they sprung a magical trap.
Wow, that's what happened here recently, Bill?
Yes. There's some kind of magical trap, and what here is useful?
What here is useful? Well, the fact is, magic would be useful.
Of course.
Essentially, you're pretty sure that whatever trap got sprung that kind of sucked the young wizards into the tower, or into the, let's call it the ziggurat, is probably still active. Meaning, if you were to do some kind of similar magic again, you could probably get in too.
I see. Well, it stands to reason that if magic is what sprung the trap, magic is what could get us in to follow. Now, what here is not what it appears to be?
Well, at the risk of overstating the obvious, the ziggurat. You're pretty sure the ziggurat is not really a ziggurat. You're pretty sure this is it's not a mountain, it's a ziggurat. This is a deliberate construction of some point that it was essentially meant to look natural, but not really. It kind of blends in. It's not like a big tower full of spires. It's just kind of a relatively simple pyramid shape. But that thing has something nefarious to it. It was built with intention by someone magical.
Nefarious. Interesting. Well, then I must find out who is nefarious. Yes?
You mean like they're real bad?
Oh, yes. Fantastic. Evil magic. Well, I think that I am going to head back and tell Chauncey about this magical trap that his brother is stuck inside of, because magic is outside of the realm of my role as a ranger. And I think this is just about everything I'm going to discern from looking at this rock.
Oh, you're a ranger?
Sure am.
I'm a druid. We both know so much about nature.
Oh, you're a woods one like myself, eh?
Well,
Like
I'm
to be out
from
in
the
wilderness?
mountain.
From the mountain. Well, it's about time somebody around here knew a thing or two about the wild. Well, boy, am I happy that you're here. That's very exciting. So, what kind of things do you do out in the wild? I'm a ranger, so I am an archer. I do tracking. Do you do that sort of thing as well?
Yeah,
druid?
I do a lot of that. I, speak to the animals and to the elements, and
just fantastic. I speak to the animals myself. This is just a terrific. I'm really glad that I met you, Hazel. This was unexpected. I don't care for most people. This is very exciting for me. Would you like to join me to Tower Town?
yeah, I would.
So what kind of mushrooms do you like?
And the hours pass in kind of rapid fire conversation. And Vil, you realize a couple of things about Hazel. Hazel's very pleasant, very open, very friendly, but the way that she answers some questions gives you a sense that she is very powerful. Like, maybe in a way she does not necessarily understand because of a lack of context or something.
She's like a better archer than me?
No, she doesn't carry a bow or anything.
He doesn't even carry a bow. Can't be. That doesn't make any sense.
No, but like,
she has a sword.
She carries a club, a short club.
It's
Not even
also
sharp or anything.
it's a walking stick too.
You hit people with it.
I can.
Oh, I
don't
see.
like
So
to.
Hazel is very strong, big muscles.
No, not really. Relatively slight, fairly short.
Well, I don't quite understand, but I'm hoping that at some point I will.
So, jump forward a few hours of pleasant conversation, and currently Vil and Hazel, you have, essentially kind of interrupted Chauncey, Gregory, and the Archmage of Tower Town kind of standing, picking at some food, and you kind of lay all of this out. And Archmage Bassi is not kind of piping up, she's just listening.
So that's what we expect. Zip zap, in they go, and they seem to be stuck inside the triangle rock, in my professional opinion. And getting them out, it stands to reason, would take some magic, seeing as the trap itself was magical.
What?
So
Hazel.
that's. Oh,
Yeah?
this is
I'm sorry.
my friend Hazel.
Hello.
Hello.
I am Chauncey.
I'm Hazel.
So Chauncey,
I like your horns.
Chauncey,
Oh, thank you.
What?
the payment.
Of course. And I reach into my sleeve and take out 5 crackers and slide them over to Vil.
Thank you very much. I set
As
2 crackers
promised.
in front of Hobie and say, "You're cut."
Where's Ram Tomdol?
Inside the rock.
He brought him with him, but he brought him in there so he could seal him off. And then his only competition at the Magic Fair is me.
Could be so. I haven't seen him come out though. You want me to leave your brother in there?
I'm not sure.
Then you wouldn't have any competition.
No. Couple things. So first of all, I wouldn't be defeating him at the Magic Fair if he was stuck in a rock.
That's true.
That's the main thing. Is I need to defeat him.
Fair and square.
Yeah, I can't have him defeat himself in a rock or get stuck defeating a bunch of other people. He needs to see what I'm gonna do because it's gonna be amazing, and I don't even know what it is yet. And could we hurry this along because I do not have a lot of time, and we got to get him. And I'm gonna practice, and
That sounds good. Me and Hobie have already eaten all of our payments, so we're happy to help once again.
I really like those horns.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I like your ears.
thank you very much.
The interesting thing, Gregory, is you're kind of observing all of this, is, you heard, kind of 2 people give a detailed story of 13 children that have magically vanished. And essentially their high school principal is just kind of standing there nodding along, which really just reinforces the fact that magic is weird and people that do magic are weird, and
That's
all of
true.
this is unnatural. And Vil, you kind of realize the same thing afterwards, and I think you and Gregory share one of those looks yep, this is weird. This is a weird thing.
I try not to get involved in too much stuff over at the school because all of it doesn't really make sense to me the way they do things, but
Normally, boy, I would say leave them to rot, and the world would be a better place without them learning more of this magic. But you do raise a
Cool.
good point. A victory is made all the sweeter when the opponent is strong.
Yes, Gregory. Yes. Yes. Thank you for saying that. Archbishop,
Yes, Chauncey.
Archie B, I think that you can leave this up to me in that perhaps a few bonus points may be in store for the rescue of my competitors.
I will keep that in mind. I wish you all the best.
And perhaps some crackers to keep you satiated.
She takes them with a pleasant nod. Few hours go by, and you are all actually less than a few hours go by because you all got horses. In fact, the tower loans you some horses, and you ride out to the ziggurat. And kind of the situation is precisely as it was laid out. Hazel and Vil kind of explained everything in sufficient detail. So when you're here, you're not surprised. There's the remnants of a ritual circle. There's a bunch of like ritual chalk everywhere. Mm-hmm. Everything's been kind of blown apart. The lightning that struck the ground left, a crater the size of a boulder. You can just already naturally feel, Chauncey, that kind of crackling kind of after magic in the air.
Can you all smell that?
The burning.
It's burning, but it's
lightning.
Yeah. Lightning struck here, and then they disappeared.
Sure did.
That thing made 13 people disappear instantaneously. That's what you're saying.
13 children.
That size. How are people comfortable with the tower in that town?
I'm going to look at the remnants of the symbol and the ashes, and I am going to say everything I know about it. I'm going to spout some lore about this symbol.
Absolutely. So you're reading this like a book, essentially. You could tell based on the fact that they had exactly 13 people, that it was a ritual that was using a lot of like etheric energy, and essentially any spell that you would cast that would involve, not necessarily damage spells, but things involving like alteration, seeing things differently, masking things from sight, anything like that would probably trigger the trap again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. No magic on the thing, everybody. No magic on the circle. It's bad stuff.
All right. So,
do you want me to kick it?
Should we push?
Push?
Well, if you can't use any magic, I don't see how we're getting inside the triangle rock.
Well, I think I could help. I'm just going to go up to the rock and put my hand on it and just say, hey, friend, could you do me a quick favor and just open up real quick?
A portal appears in the side of the rock.
What?
Thank you. All right, y'all, we better scoot and get on in here.
Hazel, you're amazing.
Oh, the rock's amazing. I'm fine.
Oh.
And you all walk in. The rock side of this ziggurat just kind of opened like a door, and you're all walking into it. It's kind of a rough-hewn hallway, or at least you think it is. Gregory, you look at it and it's like, okay, and you just instinctually start looking to see how it's built. And you thought for a hot second that this was just kind of like chipped in, like someone mined out a cave. But no, you realize that all the markings in the wall weren't made by pickaxes. They were made by... It's as if someone kind of splashed it with acid and the rock melted away.
Ugh.
So there's something strange about this. I mean, there are a lot of things strange about this place. But, the fact is, you're all looking at it and you're all kind of approaching it from your own view of things. And it just looks unnatural. Like, Gregory, you can't really understand how they built the thing. Vil, you can't really understand why it's here. Like, why right here does this thing exist in the middle of a field? Hazel, it's weird for you because this thing is living rock. This thing has elemental energy to it, which is why you were able to talk to it. But at the same time, it's been very, very much altered by something. And Chauncey, this place is just full of weird magical energies that you've never felt before. So for each of you individually, this thing just feels weird.
Hobie, what should we be on the lookout for in here, you think? Well, are you sure? I think the kids would just be happy that we're rescuing them. No, you're right. I don't trust children either. All right. I'll keep my eyes open.
Phil, that's absolutely right. You should not trust anyone. You shouldn't trust Ramtando, my brother, anyone he involves himself with. And I take out my training sword and I cast light on it.
Yeah, that's a good call, Chauncey. I don't really trust anybody.
Yeah, so you now have a glowing sword that's kind of lighting the way. And you walk in and it's, you don't go too far until kind of this hallway, which is fairly narrow, kind of opens up into a roughly circular room. There's a door on the other side. It has 2 handles on it.
All right.
Ramtando!
Ramtando.
I know he could hear me. He's just pretending he can't hear me. I go up to the door and I open it.
So you grab one of the handles and you try to open it, and instantly things get real weird. So the room is kind of dome-shaped. It's probably 15-ish feet high. The door is about 5 or 6 feet high. It's a fairly small door. So when you walk up to it and grab it, the second, Chauncey, you touch one of the handles, you all 4 of you fly upwards and crash into the ceiling.
Ow!
Oh!
You all take 2 damage because you fell about 15 feet. And you realize for a second, you're like, oh no, we're going to fall. Nope. Gravity's upside down. You're now essentially at the bottom of the bowl.
Oh, phew.
I have never seen a cave like this.
Guys, don't worry. Everything is just upside down. It's fine.
Son of a muskrat. This is giving me a headache.
Did the door open?
It did not.
All right. Well,
It's a bit far away now.
I try to climb.
All right. Vil, roll 2d6 plus your dexterity. I'm going to give you a -1 because unlike the cave leading in, this room is remarkably smooth.
Oh. All right. 9.
9. Okay. So you are able to climb up to essentially the door frame, which you're now hanging off of. So you're essentially hanging off of the top of the door frame. You could conceivably reach up and grab one of the handles, but you couldn't grab both of the handles. You would just grab one of them.
I reach up and grab one of them, and I yell, Hobie, up, and have him grab the other handle.
He grabs the other handle with his beak. So you kind of like count it in.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, open.
Boom. You grab both handles. You hear the door kind of click open. And everyone that is not Vil or Hobie takes 2 more damage as gravity reverses itself again, and you go slamming into the ground.
Ha-ha!
Oh, I hate this cave.
Me too. Ramtando, stop.
Ramtando, stop. Ramtando, stop.
You hear him mocking me?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Is there another door in this big bowl room?
So you kind of open the door, like this 2-handled door, and you walk down a cave.
Oh,
It's kind of winding back and forth. Like you very quickly lose sense of where you're going. Oh, my assistant GM is also here.
GM, watch out!
Watch out, GM.
There's a tiger in your room.
So yes, this cave is indeed full of mysteries. You kind of wander for a while and are immediately disoriented by it. Gregory, you have excellent directional sense when it comes to kind of navigating caves and caverns. But even you are turned around. And Vil, you don't think you've been lost in years, maybe decades, and
Probably
you feel
decades.
completely turned around. Yeah, you feel completely turned around. It's very unnerving. Yeah, Chauncey and Hazel, you understand why though. Because you both feel it. There is a kind of a low grade tingle in the air. This hallway is meant to disorient you. It's supposed to do that. And so you all kind of lose a sense of time, except Hazel, it kind of gets to a point where everyone starts kind of arguing how many hours they've been in here. But you realize it's probably your connection to the earth itself, that you've probably only been in here for about a minute. It just seems longer.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's some degree of kind of panic. So not panic. These folks, Hazel, Chauncey, Vil, Gregory, are sturdy stuff. The sense you got kind of coming down from the mountains is like, the Riverlands, it's full of farmers, it's full of scholars. No one here is made of terribly stern stuff. But no, like these people are pretty tough people.
Yeah.
So, you were getting ready to console them, but you don't know if they necessarily need consolation. Mercifully, though, you find yourself at another double door, which now another door, but now you all know to grab both handles at once, and you kind of open it.
Yep.
And, you're in a very strange room. It's another kind of dome-shaped room. And there's kind of a shelf, or like maybe a stone shelf that runs the entire perimeter of it. And on that stone shelf are a bunch of little figurines, maybe 3 or 4 inches high. Some of them look like humans and dwarves and elves and halflings. Other of them look like great beasts and things like that. It's almost like a little menagerie. A little stone menagerie.
I go up and to take a close look at them. I'm trying to see if I recognize anyone from school or my brother.
Don't touch anything.
Without my hands, I look at them. Thank you, Gregory.
Yeah, Chauncey, roll 2d6 plus your wisdom. This is just going to be a general observation.
8.
Ugh. Well, I mean, there's definitely one of these. There are dozens of them. Maybe hundreds, and you're kind of scanning and scanning and scanning, and one of them does kind of look like kind of a young wizard in a robe. I mean, they're not like dolls, like finely carved. They're more like kind of abstracts. But one of them is like, okay, that's probably, if any of them were Ron Tomdell, that would probably be him.
Oh, great. Well, let's take him and go home. I grab Ram Tomdell.
And you grab Ron Tomdell, and
what are you doing?
Things get a little weird.
What?
You touched it.
I was taking it home.
Look
That's
with
what
your
we came
eyes.
for.
You look with your eyes, Vil.
This room is unseasoned. Well, it's unseasonably warm and balmy, especially unseasonably because this cave has been very dry so far. And it's almost getting hotter and warmer and stickier. And the air's starting to feel cloudy. And you realize that this kind of cloud, this steamy, smoky cloud, is beginning to condense in the middle of the room into a shape that looks vaguely like that wizard, only it's made of white smoke and 6 feet tall. And Vil, it's going to attack you.
Uh-oh.
So we are now in combat. And as this is powered by the apocalypse, there is no combat order. The first person that has a good idea, shout it out, and then we'll go from there.
I'm gonna I'm going to summon the wind. So, hey, air, can you blow through here and knock around that wizard for me?
Yeah. The wind responds. I want you to roll 1d4.
1d4. 2.
Okay. So, you very politely ask the wind to respond. And all of a sudden, there's a hard blow going on. And this thing is kind of looming and moving towards Vil with like outstretched, cloudy hands. And you ask the wind to blow, and it does. And it kind of knocks the thing over, and it essentially splatters itself against the side wall before reshaping and then turning Hazel and coming towards you. Who wants to go next?
I'm going to attempt to get between this thing and Vil.
Sure. So you kind of interpose yourself, no problem. So Gregory, if this is going to be a defend roll. So I need you to roll, or actually, I'm going to say this is defy danger. So you're essentially trying to prevent. You're trying to prevent both you and Hazel from being hurt by this thing. So how exactly are you going to do that? Describe it to me, and then I'll tell you what to roll.
I don't know what this is, so basically run up, triangulate, get between Vil and whatever this smoke is. Shields up.
Mm-hmm. So this is going to be, I'm going to say this is just based on strength. So, you're essentially going to get there, get into a battle stance, kind of hold the cestus up near your head, and hold on. So roll 2d6 plus your strength.
Plus my strength. So a 5.
Okay. So you kind of bring the cestus up, and you're like, all right, here we go. And you hear the cestus talk to you, because that's something that the cestus does. In this thing, in your armored gloves, is the warrior spirit of Dulin the Linebreaker Doomian, one of the famed dwarven legionaries that left the Legion and ended up spending the second half of his life helping humans and elves and halflings out in the world. And as this thing is kind of pouring down on you, you hear the voice of your dwarven patriarch essentially say, "Oh, I think that was the wrong move." And at that point, you get punched in the face by a cloud for 6 damage.
Okay. I would like to move myself and get in front of Gregory. I'm going to put myself in between Gregory and the thing.
Sure. So then you kind of interpose yourself. So now there are kind of 3 of you in a line. So I want you to roll Defy Danger with your strength as well. Because you're just, it didn't work for him, but you think you're stronger. So let's see what you get.
Uh, 7.
Okay, so you take 3 damage, not 6.
Okay.
Which is great. And you prevent Gregory from getting any more. So essentially, you're just, how the heck do you stop this thing? Okay, Chauncey, what do you want to do?
Okay, first of all, guys, it looks a little like my brother, and that's probably why he's hurting you so much, and that's also why we're going to see what it is. I'm going to take a second to study it, so I can try to ascertain some knowledge about it.
Sure. So you want to study it, huh?
I'm going to maybe discern some realities.
Yeah, and I'm going to say you can use your intelligence instead of your wisdom because, at this point, it's magical. You're kind of taking a bit of a Sherlock Holmes approach to it. So tell me what you get.
10.
Okay. So ask me some questions.
All right. Where did this thing come from? Is it from the artifact we picked up?
Yeah, the sense is that it is. Essentially seeing kind of this thing damage your friends It's almost like every time it punches the weird word, every time it kind of smashed a cloudy appendage at your friends, there was almost kind of this crackle of energy. And that feeling of energy, you feel like it's emanating from, kind of these little figurines. So this thing and the figurines are connected somehow, you think?
Okay, I want to look at it closer and look at the figurine and see if it's my brother.
Yeah, you don't think it is. Your immediate instinct was something like, okay, well, maybe this thing like trapped everyone and turned them into figurines or something like that. But no, this thing is ancient. This is old magic. Some enchanter was doing things that they do not teach at the Arcane College to kind of create essentially this smoke menagerie. So that's not Ron Tomdal.
All right, and I'm going to see if I can notice a way that I may be able to damage it.
So you're pretty sure that if you hit this with magic, it would damage it, but there's probably some other way as well. Like some key to it, but you don't know what it is. That said, if you hit it with magic, or maybe if you just did enough kind of raw, malicious damage to it, something would happen.
I run up to Vil and grab the figurine.
Grab it out of her hand.
And then I start casting Fireball with it in my hand and thrust the Fireball at the gaseous beast as well.
Got it. So you're holding this and you kind of cast a Fireball at it.
Oh, yeah, with the hand with the thing.
Got it. Okay. Roll to cast spell, 2d6 plus intelligence.
7.
Okay, so you do in fact fire off a fireball. However, one of three things is going to happen. I leave it up to you. You put yourself in a tight spot, you disrupt the fabric of reality, or you can't cast fireball again.
I put myself in a tight spot.
All right. So here's the issue: is you first do 2d6 damage to it, because that's what a fireball does.
Whew, 9.
All right, that's plenty of damage. So this kind of plume of this jet of fire kind of fires out of your hands, assumes the form of a giant pulsing ball of fire, and kind of smashes into / passes through this like smoke and steam and cloud being. There's kind of a burst of energy, this crackling almost hiss, before the fireball eventually hits the other wall and kind of explodes. The tight spot that you're put in is the fact that the heat of the casting of the fireball has fused this figure to your hand. Uh-oh. Which, by the way, you've taken 2 more damage because there's now a searing hot piece of rock stuck to the palm of your hand.
Ow!
All right, Hazel, you're up.
All right, well, I just know we got to keep this thing distracted. So, and my form's not working too well. So I'm going to take the form of a peregrine falcon.
Okay, no problem. You need to just roll your 2d6 plus wisdom and tell me what you get.
Whew, we got a 12.
All right, so you now have 4 hold, meaning you can do 4 different things as this peregrine falcon. So describe to everyone what they just saw.
All right. Well, they saw me standing there and thinking real hard. And then some dirt and rock kind of formed around me and then whooshed up and then whooshed back down. And now I'm a falcon with some little horns on me still. What? And I am swooping through this cloud monster.
So, yeah, all of a sudden, your new friend Hazel is a peregrine falcon. Hobie, for reasons of self-preservation, does not like peregrine falcons, but seems totally fine with this one and proceeds to leave your sling and begin doing the same.
Come on, buddy. We got this.
So the two of them are kind of dive bombing this cloud monster, and the thing is mercifully not attacking you. It's almost like it's trying to pick a target. It doesn't know which one to pick. Gregory, you're up.
Well, I see that this thing has fused itself into Chauncey's hand, which does not seem very pleasant. Familiar with hand injuries. I would like to attempt to use my Ben Bar's lift gates to crush the thing and remove it from
Very, very good. So before you even roll Ben Bars and lift gates, one thing I can say with certainty is you're definitely going to destroy it. So it's just a question of how you do. So let's roll 2d6 plus your strength.
All right. 5.
Okay. So the good news is that this thing is destroyed. The bad news is that you're being very careful. You're getting in there like a surgeon that's wearing 10-pound iron war gloves, and you just kind of get in there. And Chauncey, you have broken your hand and wrist.
I try to cast mirror image to hold my own hand.
Sure, you do. In this moment, there's like a yell of pain from Chauncey. Suddenly, he splits into two different Chaunceys that are now consoling each other. In your hand, Gregory, you're holding, this statue that's now been kind of crushed into dust. And all of you, like the birds are swooping. Like Vil, you're kind of getting ready to find where this thing is and try to shoot it or do something. And you realize that when the thing broke, this kind of smoke and cloud monster kind of
I knew it.
vanished into nothing.
I would like to take out my bag of herbs and begin to do some first aid for Chauncey and for Gregory's face.
Sure. These bag of herbs, presumably they've been incredibly well fermented.
Yes, of course.
So describe the smell.
Oh, the smell is strong. I would describe it as earthy, and Ronaldo would describe it as pungent.
I get my mirror image to hold my nose.
But I have one particularly long, like banana leaf, and I just rub some herbs on that, and I wrap that around Chauncey's hand, and I have some twine, so I tie it in place so it holds it right on the swelling, and then I go to Gregory, and I have a special paste that I cooked up with some old mushrooms, and I just rub it generously on the side of his face.
That smells like a mushroom melt after midnight.
Yes, exactly right.
Vil, you finally have someone that appreciates your craft.
Oh, and I've just kind of swooped down and perched on Chauncey's shoulder.
How's that?
My condolences for the pain, boy, and my apologies for the smell.
Cracker?
No, thank you.
Okay, it didn't hurt to take out at all.
The mirror image does take one, though, and start eating it.
Good job, buddy.
Hey,
Thanks, buddy.
Stop making that shape with your hand. Uncurl your fingers. Don't.
Oh, this is a pain. This is a bad pain. You all open up the door in this room, and the second you do, you hear the unmistakable sound of 13 young wizards all screaming, "Hello! Hello!
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
I was right. We're in hell.
I start trying to ask. I say, "Hello, are you the young wizards?"
Yeah. Chauncey,
Yes, it's me, Chauncey. Quickly, so we can ascertain your correct identity. Would you sing me a quick line from the Town Academy? Would you sing something from the anthem?
Yeah, after like kind of a half beat, all 13 of them start singing.
Oh, please
And
no.
so our eyes go aloft to the solarium at the top. And from up there, the archmage stares and makes sure that we know. And everyone starts singing, and it's an oddly comforting moment to everyone but Gregory.
It's them, everybody. And I start doing fireworks with my other hands with prestidigitation to see if they'll match them.
Oh, magic indoors, Chauncey, magic indoors.
Don't worry, we're surrounded by young wizards, the most protective bunch in town.
So the fireworks the mix of the fireworks going off and, your lighted sword, reveal kind of, it would be grim if they weren't all alive. Thankfully they are. Essentially, they're kind of stuck in the wall a little bit. Like there's kind of tendrils of rock and stone like around their shoulders and hugging them around the middle. It's almost as if this room is slowly absorbing them.
I go up to the closest one and I say, "Hello. Yes, it is I, Chauncey, of Chauncey fame. What is your name?"
My name is Saria. Oh, it's Saria. You know her. She's a year younger than you, and she's in your class on abjuration magic.
Saria, it's good to see you. I have a quick question before we help with your situation here.
Yeah.
I assume that Ram Tomdal did this to you all. Can you point in the direction that he went?
One of her arms is free, like both of her legs and one of her arms is in the wall, but the other one, she points, is like, yeah, based on his voice, I think he's over there on the other side. The other wall, the opposite wall.
Ram Tomdal?
Yeah, Chauncey?
I take
What?
out my bow. Want me to take him out for you?
Hold. What did you do?
Can you get us out first?
I kind of nudge Chauncey to take me closer to the wall, and I lay one of my wings against the rock, and I say, "Hey, friend, can you please just release these children for me?"
And the rock abides. The kind of tendrils of stone pull back into the wall. All of them kind of hit the ground and kind of straighten themselves back up. None of them appear hurt. Some of them are thirsty. But yeah, they're all in good spirits and very grateful to the talking horned bird and their classmate and his two adult friends that saved them. Okay, brother, what do you want to know?
What did you do? Why did you do this? Did you try to capture our competition?
What? No, for months and months and months, we've been learning about the really weird structures from the Silver Kingdom era, right? And this was the closest one to Tower Town. And so I wanted to take 13 people so we could do a ritual sight spell to try to see within it. And when we cast it, we appeared in this room, and it started kind of bringing us into the walls like this.
Ram Tomdal, you should know not to mess with powers you don't understand. And then I cast Summon Monster.
Okay, what do you summon?
I'm summoning the scariest looking thing that I can think of. It has wings for eyes. It has tentacles for all of its limbs. It has just one giant curved horn. It looks like a beast of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's completely unfunctional.
Yeah, we don't even need to roll for this. You've described this thing, and I will describe what happens when it appears. But you put a little extra juice on it. So how does its summoning look? Does it just kind of appear, or
I
what?
reach with my unburnt hand and I loop it around and I just barely pull the book out, having like a corner sticking out, and I just leaf open a page, put my hand on it, and cut my finger on the corner. before
Okay.
splattering it to the ground.
So you use kind of this book to slice your finger open. You kind of throw blood on the ground. The blood starts to boil and pop and fizz and expand out into this pool of boiling blood. And emerging from the blood is this being of uncleanness. And it emerges and begins screaming with mouths that don't speak any reasonable language, and it's flailing and wild and screaming, and everyone in the room.
Not right.
You all kind of get into position.
Guys, don't worry. Guys, it's fine. And I have my mirror image go around and whisper to all of them that it can't do
It's
anything.
fine. Everything's fine. It's all fine. Everything is fine. Don't worry about it, everybody.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the people in here are terrified.
I hate magic.
Yeah, this thing is kind of flat. It doesn't have legs to stand on. It's trying to stand on a pile of hands, and so it's kind of rolling. And Ron Tomdell's like, "What is this? What should I do? What should we be doing?
Ron
Chauncey,
Tomdell.
save us!"
Of course I'll save you. For now. But let this be a lesson not to mess with powerful magics that you cannot control.
Chauncey.
And I use prestidigitation to make a smog cloud appear around the monster. Before I reach my hand in, put it next to it, one of its many mouths, it licks it kindly, and I make it disappear before the smoke is gone.
Yeah.
So you kids should probably hurry back on to Tower Town, huh?
Good gods.
And the kids, including Ron Tomdell, is not sure what to do here. He starts running and he turns back and he's trying to think of something to say to you and can't think of anything, and he just runs out. And
Chauncey.
they all run out.
Yes, Phil?
Remember when you said that Ram Tomdell shouldn't be messing with magic he doesn't understand?
I just said that, and that I stand by that statement.
Yeah, you said it 2 times.
Mhm.
Does that make you think of anything in your life?
That book's real creepy.
Yeah, we hate the book.
Guys,
Anything that asks you for your blood, you should probably be suspicious of, friend.
Yeah, Chauncey, that's a scary book, and you don't know where it came from or what voice.
If something
It's
asks for your
speaking
blood,
with
it tends to
and-
be an enemy.
well, enemies also tend to do you harm. And the book has done me nothing but good. It helped me teach Ram Tomdell a lesson. It saved my life in the woods. And the only way I'm going to understand it is by using it and researching it. So I could either let it be an enemy or I could let it be an ally. And if you're referring to Mr. One Horn, Many Wings, Too Many Mouths, then he is very relaxed. All he does is stand there and scream, essentially. And that's it. He likes to eat fish.
All right. So Hazel, you do magic too, huh?
I wouldn't call it magic.
You know, this never would have happened if these were dwarven children. 2 reasons. 1, they wouldn't be messing around with magic. And 2, they would all know the legend of the Smiling Umber Hulk that tries to lead children down caves with the promise of gems and the promise of sweet iridescence.
Sounds like my
And
brother.
eats them whole.
It is a nice reminder, this situation, Gregory, that human children just seem to be bent on self-destruction.
Yeah.
That's true.
Surprised
few-
they're any alive.
A few hours pass, and you all make it back to Tower Town, and specifically the Arcane College, where all of you are met with a hero's welcome. You saved 13 people. People are cheering, like, they're like people from the Arcane College, people from the town. Spitzfoot of the Knights of Prospect is here.
Hi,
and
Spitz.
Yeah, wow. And he's all waving. Archmage Basia sees you. And kind of there's a big announcement here. Like kind of all the students are here, like the ones that were preparing for the magic fair tomorrow and the people you just rescued. And Archmage Basia looks around. Well, I'm very glad to see that any adventures our students get into can also be solved by others of our students and their friends. Chauncey, I want to thank you all very, very much for saving these people from what best could be described as a rather grim fate. The show must go on, though. So long as none of you are injured, and it doesn't appear that you are, I will see you at dawn tomorrow for the Magic Fair. But between now and then, be sure to thank Chauncey and his friends for saving all of you.
And you can thank us any way you see fit. You can thank us with words. You can thank us with coins.
And so that's what happens. There's kind of this almost like this montage of, some of the, a bunch of the students gathering around Hazel and asking all sorts of questions about the mountains and magic, and a bunch of, Chauncey, your friends thanking you and talking to you, and you're describing everything. And Vil, you're getting, Hobie is standing with his satchel on the ground, and a bunch of students are throwing their allowances into it. Gregory, you're talking to some of the silver helmets, the military force of the Arcane College. Like, all of you are, just being kind of absorbed by the love and gratitude of everyone here. And Chauncey, you're kind of seeing this and seeing your friends and feeling this warm glow of being a hero once more. And you, for one moment, catch eyes with Ron Tomdal, who's on the outskirts of the crowd, just giving you the weirdest look. That kind of look of, I don't know who you are. And so we're going to end it right there, everybody. So congratulations, Chauncey, Vil, Gregory, and Hazel. Welcome, Hazel, to this group of brave adventurers. You've all saved a lot of people from a rather grim fate. And thank you, all of you at home, for watching. We are Knights of Prospect. We are on 2MB Studios Twitch channel every Saturday at 8 o'clock. Please be sure to subscribe to twitch.tv/2MB Studios. They have content, I believe, almost every night of the week and some mornings, and it is all fantastic. Also, be sure to like our YouTube channel, Knights of Prospect, as well as our Facebook page as well. So raise a stein, whether you are a Knight of Prospect or not, and we will see you next week. Good night, everyone.